from Artist View Entertainment.
I'll drive.
No!
Baby, you're the only woman I've ever loved this morning.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. First, an interview with an actor, someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with actress Monique Parent, the star of this week's sequel, our Valentine's Day romantic sequel, Mirror Mirror 3. The Voyeur. Monique was great, just talking about how she broke into the business and her time on My Blue Heaven. Great movie. It was so cool to hear about that and so much more. So if you haven't listened to that, wait until after this review and go check it out. But man, I think when me and Jamie started this podcast, it was because of our love of How Did This Get Made. I think this is the first movie that I can truly really say, how did this get made? Before we discuss Mirror Mirror 3, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
Doug, I'm not even going to ask you how you're doing. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing. And when we discussed doing a sequel podcast, I'm thinking, Die Hard 2, maybe Aliens, good movies. I never expected to watch a movie like this. And we saw a lot of bad movies during this journey that we're doing. This by far has been the worst movie I have ever seen in my life. I hated this movie so much. So much. So anyone who knows us and knows how much I hate movies, this is the worst one I'm telling you, if I could have walked away within 5 minutes, I would have.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't. And I'm here to defend and play, public defender. But it is a terrible movie. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, but it was truly, how did this get made? Because there's 6 people minus the one gang scene and the shooting scene on the bridge. There's like 6 people in this entire movie.
I want to know who's this movie made for, that they said, or the people watching the movie that actually like it, they were like, oh, I can't wait for another one, because they made 4 of them.
I know.
They made 4 of these movies, and there's another one after this. So they thought that this movie was so good, we have to have another sequel, which I don't understand. Like,
No, I do agree with that. And the question I have, because we're going to talk about this movie sort of like not in the same way. We're going to like go through it, but like, what is this movie? Obviously, okay. Mirror, mirror. It's about a mirror, but like, what is this movie about?
Doug, this might be my most angriest review that we're going to do. I'm really angry that I had to watch this. So yes. And that's one of the main reasons. I mean, there's many reasons why I hated the movie, but I really don't understand what this movie's about. Like, the girl in it, like, he keeps dreaming about. Was that someone that he actually dated in real life, or that was someone just from his dreams? Was she? I don't know any. I really don't understand what this movie's about. There's no plot.
Yeah, if there is no plot. If this was a continuation of the second one, which the mirror is the continuation. I guess I'm guessing this mirror. If we would have saw them move into a house, and there was a mirror, and they took a sheet off the mirror, and they're like, ooh, this mirror, and it started bleeding, then I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. But we got like right, the way the movie kicks off, again, we'll get right into it. It says, from Artist View Entertainment. And we open up, and it's like a POV of a car driving, just like weaving through LA, right? That's what it looked like.
But it was like a video game kind of like dream sequence kind of thing, which they do throughout the whole movie. But I don't understand why. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything with the movie. Because they go back to it a few times. Right?
I can understand if they did that. Yeah, they do it a bunch. But if they did that and it ended up like somewhere, like the mirror was traveling somewhere, but nothing.
Or that's maybe like if you walk into the mirror, that's what you see, like, way to get, but like none of that comes into play. Like that driving part that they show like a video game, nothing comes out of that.
Yeah, it's almost like it's the opening for the mirror to tell you what's happening.
Yes.
Every time when she looks into it, or later when Billy Drago, Anthony looks into the mirror, then you see like he gets to see like something that's going on. But it's like they had to show this beforehand. It was like the company was called like Driving in Traffic Productions, and you had to watch this friggin' thing every time.
Well, I'll tell you what the movie reminded me of with that, and just the horrendous acting, the horrendous videoing. It looked like a student art film. Like it looked like a student art film that a college student made, that they needed to do a project by the end of the year, and this was the project. Then I could say, okay, great job on this movie. Great job. It's a college student. You don't know what you're doing. But to have people like, I would say some famous people in this movie.
Oh, I would say all these people at one point or later on, like Monique was being sarcastic over the years.
Right.
No, but it's crazy when you think about it. David Naughton at this point in his career, American Werewolf in London.
Yep.
At this, I think this year he did this. Ice Cream Man he was in. So he's in like all these movies, like these like horror movies towards the end of his career. But like Mark Ruffalo is in this movie. Elizabeth Baldwin, she was married to Danny Baldwin at the time.
Yep.
And Billy Drago, I forgot.
Yeah.
He had a monster movie in like the late 70s, 80s, but he always worked.
Yeah. And I read something about this movie that Ruffalo is in part 2 as a different character.
That's amazing.
Drago, what's his name? Drago?
Billy Drago? That's all right.
Okay. Drago is in part 4 as a different character.
What? So he's not even Anthony?
No. So like so apparently they like to keep them film in the family because there's only 6 actors anyway. So they probably just rotate them around.
Oh my God. What was the other movie that we covered that did that? There was another movie that we covered that did something similar. Like there was people from the other.
The Slaughterhouse one, maybe?
Oh, maybe.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Would you say out of all the movies we've done, this is the worst one?
Oh, I would say by far. But again, having said that, I will tell you one of my new like favorite characters is like the most over the top acting.
Don't say it.
Dude, it is. He looked like Mikey Day from SNL, or he looked for like Caveman Lawyer from SNL.
I hated this character. Hated it. Oh my God. The greasiest looking, like the worst actor. The only actor I think that might have been worse than him was the guy driving his car with the bandana. Like that guy might have been a worse actor than Julio, but Julio was horrible. Like really, like the acting in this movie. And okay, I mean, we're going to talk about the whole movie. We're going to talk about all the sex scenes and everything else. I don't even think the sex scenes were sexy. Like the sex scenes were like cringy. It was just the whole movie was uncomfortable. It definitely is uncomfortable because if you're watching these scenes, not the sex scenes, but you're watching these ones to get information, like the movie changes throughout the movie. Like you would think, oh, this movie's about Julio or this movie's about Ramon. No, it's not about, it's really not about, they have a little bit to do with what the movie seems to be about. It's like everybody has these little motives, like Mark Ruffalo. His motive in the movie is really just to bang Elizabeth Carolyn, who's his brother's wife. Anthony? No, I thought it was his brother's wife.
No, they're not. No, they were just like, she's his art gallery. She owns an art gallery.
Which made no sense. And I in the beginning, I didn't even know because he was also with another girl in the begining, wasn't he? Or he keeps dreaming about that stupid other girl.
So is
that his ex-girlfriend?
He was sleeping, I guess so, but she was always with Julio, Cassandra, played by Monique Parent, and they were screwing around, I guess. But the fact that he lives there, why would he move in there?
But it looks like that portion with Julio was like in the past, like past. Like was he around for Julio?
He was, yeah. He was sleeping with her while she was with Julio.
But there was no scene with them together like that, right? Was there a scene?
Well, there was no scene. No, we never saw Anthony because Anthony was like coming there and Julio is running over people, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. See, it was just so confusing. Like I honestly I thought there was a possibility that this was just like a dream girl, and somehow he gets in. I don't know. All right, I don't know. It was just too much.
No, it definitely was. It definitely was. So, but even like the first thing in the movie, like so we have Cassandra. She's like lighting these candles, and then entering in the house is an FBI agent.
Just to let you know, I wrote down 1 minute in, and I already hate it. I'm just putting it out there. I wrote down 1 minute in, and I already hate this movie. And before we get any further, the way the movie starts was complete foolery. Because by the time the credits came on there, I'm thinking the movie's 20 minutes in. I'm like, all right, you know what? Fine. I'm almost done with this movie. And then all of a sudden the credits come on. I'm like, you gotta be crapping me. The movie's just starting now. It was 20 minutes before the credits came on.
It was 20 minutes.
It really, when I tell you angry, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was so angry.
Or that could be like a happy welcome because you're like, oh my God, it's only been 3 minutes. And it's like, oh, it's been 15. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the movie just starts.
Yeah.
So that's where it really was.
So this FBI guy goes into the house. He drinks milk right out of the carton. Then he goes upstairs and all he does is he screams like when he's like outside the door. He falls down the stairs. He has like his stomach's bleeding, like a hole in his stomach. And then the mirror starts bleeding. So I'm like, I don't know. I think this movie could have been like Rubber-esque. Like if like a tire killing people. No, I'm not saying like.
Oh, you think like the mirror's killing people.
The mirror. Well, why is the mirror bleeding?
Well, I thought the mirror was connected to him at first. Like somehow, like, like if he bleeds, the mirror is going to bleed kind of thing. But I just didn't understand. I really don't understand this movie. And I mean, what you're saying would have made sense. Would have made sense.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Well, I think it, you know what? Now that you're saying that, I think that is exactly what it is. Based on the ending, I think the mirror is alive, and I think the mirror causes all this stuff.
Yeah. It's insane. So we get Anthony, Billy Drago. He's dreaming, and he's having this is the first of like 5 sex scenes.
Did not waste time.
And in honor of our action sequel expert, I wrote 2 B's are crossed off the list. Batshit crazy. And boobs.
What were the other 2 B's?
Bombs. Right? Big bombs.
Now, can big bombs count as body parts?
I guess it could be. I guess it could.
Okay. Because I don't think there's bombs in this movie, right? Is there a bomb in this movie?
Is there a bomb in this movie? No.
I don't think. Okay. So maybe we could count.
Oh, you know what? If you count exploding scorpions.
Yeah, okay. Which again, I didn't understand that either. Because they showed it in slow motion. Okay, that whole slow motion scene. I mean, I know we're not there. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand. They showed a close up of that scorpion getting squashed. How many times? And
that and the chicken and the rotisserie chickens in the fire. It's insane. No, it really is.
It's a student art film. That's all I can say.
But the fact that we're like, it's so weird, and then we're watching him dream. Anthony is, and then we cut to him. He's just in the bed by himself, moaning and wiggling. And I'm like, why do we have to see this?
Yeah. He came across very creepy in this movie. It like uncomfortable creepy.
Yeah. I don't know what his deal, like each character, I didn't really know what their deal was. Cause like really, if you break him down, what was his like drive in this movie? Like to become a great artist and to be in this house that torments him as he moves into this house later on.
He moves in a house.
No, that doesn't happen at all.
But why? Like, does he know that his ex-girlfriend or whatever she was murdered, or he doesn't? Like, is he trying to solve it? Is that why he went there? Like, I don't know.
Well, later in the movie, we see that they did like a sort of like blood oath. So maybe he feels like if he goes there, she'll come back.
But they also, I mean, I you know, this movie is so like hodgepodge that I think we're going to be jumping around throughout the whole movie because it's not. Like, there really is no plot line. So, like, do they even explain what she is? Like,
I think she's a witch, but they really don't explain it. But she's kind of like a witch.
She is kind of witch, but is she a ghost? Is she alive? Because she's pretty much there for everybody. So like they don't explain that.
Yeah, no, I don't get that she and where she like comes from. Like really, we don't really ever see her come out of the mirror. If she like appeared from the mirror, that makes sense. No, she just like pops out. It's like she's a ghost of the house.
She's like Beetlejuice. She's like the people of Beetlejuice, and she doesn't want anyone living there, and that's basically what it is. So this is like the original Beetlejuice, right? Did this come out before?
This is after Beetlejuice, but
so this quality movie came out after Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, this is way after Beetlejuice. This is 95. This movie's 95. Beetlejuice is 88.
Wait, this movie was made in 1995.
Yes, it was.
Holy, like I'm thinking, I really had no clue when this was made, and I'm thinking like this movie, the way it looks, it's got to be like early 80s. Like I mean, like it's just horrible conditions. No, it was made when good movies came out, like good budgets and good special effects.
Yeah, like Jurassic Park came out like 2 years before this.
Oh, okay. They must have had a very similar budget.
So then we get, oh my god, dude. So then we get Julio. How about he gets woken up from his sex dream by Julio pinching him in the face? That's how his dream ended.
No, he punched him in the face.
Oh, he punches him. That's what
he punches him. Imagine like sleeping and you getting up by getting punched
by caveman lawyer, like who when he went for the audition. I wonder if he said, "How should I play this?" And his agent said, "Cheech Marin." Cheech and Chong talk like Cheech. He does. He talks like Cheech throughout this whole movie. Like
he does
in the opening clip when he mentions, "You're the only girl I love this morning."
that line was just so cringe. Just you know what it is. I think every line he says is cringe. It's just they made him so greasy. His hair is so greasy, and he just comes across so scumbaggish. It's like oh, what a gross character.
He is totally gross. So then we get this scene just before I'm going to play a clip. So we have Ramon shows up to the house, and we really don't know that he's just pissed at Ramon. And he like knocks him down. He said, "You're going to give me that $50,000 back." Again, we don't know anything that's happening. We don't even know. I don't even know what he does. We don't know why, drugs,
what the money, guns. Right. We don't know anything. Yeah. Correct.
No, nothing at all. But yeah, we got this gem. This opening scene.
And the bandana guy cracks me up. I mean, like,
but here's the scene that I really wanted to talk to you about because the effects don't. The sound effects, the fact that they run these guys over, and the music that plays is from like a 1990s video game, but the gun effects don't match what guns they have.
Okay, so that's one thing I was gonna say. There's not one person in this movie that's shooting a gun looks like they know how to shoot a gun.
Dude, these two guys that are shooting at Ramon and Julio are shooting for a good 2 minutes beforehand. That guy gets it. But
how many bullets are in the guns?
Oh, it seems like they have machine guns because they have so many. The fact that the guy, I love this, that he's out of bullets and he thinks, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw my gun at his head.
And he's like, it was almost like the weakest throw ever because like Julio just like steps to the side. He does look like caveman lawyer.
I love these days.
Nobody messes with Julio Menendez and lives to regret it.
Fuck you guys!
Adios.
Mine more.
Look
and
at,
just
look
this. Look at the traffic that's underneath.
I
Think
know.
of this. And then I had to leave at the end of this scene. So he's sitting here with the gun. Where's my money?
Now, wouldn't you just grab Julio at this point? Like, if you're gonna die anyway, wouldn't you just hold on to him and like maybe pull him down with you?
Exactly. And he uses eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which isn't what works there.
And then there's his thug in the background with the bandana.
Yes.
he just looks like someone that they grabbed. Like, listen, you know what? Our main actor like couldn't show up, so just throw this bandana and sunglasses on. Don't say 2 words, and you'll be in the movie. The fact that the one part I do love about that is at the very end, they didn't even think for editing purposes or continuation of the scene was that you heard voiceovers of people in the background like, and then the end of the scene is cars driving. Not like cars stopped to check about this dead body. It just showed it was stock footage of just driving. It's so ridiculous. So that scene alone just shows you what you're in for. And again, that movie was filmed in 1995. You said,
yeah,
that's amazing. I mean, just look at the quality.
Meeny, miny, mo, and he's just pointing the gun at him. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo is when you're picking people.
Yeah, no, so there was no. You know what? I really feel like there might not have even been a script. Was there a screenwriter in this? Like, I wonder if you go to IMDb and like that is blank. Like they have all the jobs and screenwriter. There's not a name there because
I do love the fact that there was 2 directors because Monique was talking about how they would have to like run. There was these 2 houses that were the one that we see the outside of, and then there was another house. So I guess the one house didn't have like exactly what they needed. So they were like running from house to house with 2 different directors at each house. Like that's just.
Well, I can understand that when you have such a high quality movie like this, you're going to need more than one director. I guess because there's so much acting going on that you want to make sure you get the right shot.
Yeah, you got to make sure you get that right shot.
2 directors. What was the budget? What was the budget? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. They probably don't release it for these Oscar.
I looked up. I looked up Rotten Tomatoes, and I think there is no review on this.
But I did know on what is it called? Again, it's fan scores, but on IMDb, because not a lot of people probably have seen this movie.
I don't know why.
I think it's only at 2. It's 2.5, so it's not worse than Son of the Mask, but it's worse than Son of the Mask.
It's 2.5 Rotten Tomatoes.
No, on IMDb, so it's 2.5 out of 10.
Wait, you're telling me Son of the Mask got worse than this movie?
Yes.
That is amazing because I would take Son of the Mask. I would watch it all day long.
Whoa!
Over this movie one more time. Like I would not watch this movie one more time, but I would if I had to choose between watching this movie one more time or Son of the Mask over and over again for 24 hours. I would take Son of the Mask.
I love that. I wish there was a way we could make that happen. It'd be great for like charity. If we had like 1 million listeners, I would love to raise money for something and make you watch Son of the Mask for 24 hours straight. You have to watch a dog trying to kill a baby.
You know what? Listen, this movie got me angry. I would be willing to. I'd watch Terror Toons over and over again. And I mean, like we've watched some bad movies. I mean, we really have. And you know what? This movie makes Terror Toons make sense. I feel like, and Terror Toons didn't make sense either. But I feel like I understood Terror Toons way more than I understood this movie.
You understood Grandma Hulk Hogan, Sam Elliott, yeah. So here's a line that, oh my gosh. So I have this clip, but I don't want to show too many. But he when he comes home, pissed drunk. Why is he pissed drunk? He seems like a guy that's killed people before, right?
Well, okay. Something in a scene, I think there's a scene that made me laugh is just one review ago. We talked about floorboards.
Yes.
And we have a floorboard in this movie that he's hiding something in. Like how common is that in movies? And where do you, and as our action expert said, where do you get them? Is there a market for floorboards?
Maybe Julio is that market, and Julio is
you know what? Maybe that's what he does for a living because they don't explain it. So maybe that's what he does. He sells, hidden floorboards.
I don't know if the next sequel, Hangover 3, has a hidden floorboard, but I'd be mind blown if that happens. That'd be so funny. But no, he comes home and goes, Lucy, I'm home. Cassandra.
You know what? He's so gross.
He is. But you would think they've been in this house a while, right? There's no furniture in the house. There's when they walk in, there's like that little like chest where there's like a picture there. But other than that, there's a rug on the ground that is there for the purpose of covering when he puts the money down there. But other than that, nothing else.
The house reminded me of the Munsters.
Oh yeah,
it was the Munsters. Like it almost looks like it could have been the Munsters house.
Yeah. So here's by far, again, not the best line, like as in like the greatest lines ever, but the best line in this movie, the fact that it was written and somebody said it.
Well, we don't know if it's written. We have to look at IMDb.
I hope so. He says,
There you are. Why don't you answer me, huh? Too busy playing with your freaking mirror.
It's a free country. I can do what I want.
It's a free. I wrote that down. Yeah, that's a quality line. It's a free country.
But just to say that back,
I know
it is so funny. The fact that they're really together. How did they meet? Why are they in love?
But within seconds, she's got a knife behind her back. Like she's having a whole conversation with him with a knife behind her back.
Well, she's ready. She was talking to Anthony while he was dreaming wherever, which we don't know if that was him dreaming.
That's what
now
I mean. Like,
or in the past. No, you're right. No,
they don't explain that. So like, they don't explain why she doesn't like Julio, why she's with Julio. You know, like it's like there's no explanation.
Now, if this was a continuation from the second one, it's on us because we didn't watch it. But she's not in the second one. Julio's not in the second one. So it's really like they start a movie at like almost halfway through because we don't know anyone.
Is it the same mirror in the first one and the second one? Can you imagine it's like a different mirror each movie?
Well, dude, Talking Pony had a different pony on the cover of the movie. So that
it didn't even have a pony on the cover of the movie. Had a horse.
One of the cover. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Well, wait, no, not even that. I shouldn't even say. There's not even a pony in the movie. So they had a different horse on the cover. Then the horse was in the movie, but they kept saying Talking Pony.
Okay, is the mirror in SAG? Maybe that's why it might be a different mirror in each movie, just because they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you bleed on screen, you get in SAG. So I guess the mirror would be in SAG if you.
That's acting.
I would love if the mirror got nominated for like a Razzie.
You know what? Based on the acting in this movie, the mirror is probably the best actor in the whole movie.
The mirrors at Comic Cons or horror conventions, and it's just like standing there, and then people are like, "I really love you," and the blood starts pouring down.
I really would laugh if it's a different mirror because they have different actors. So, or the mirror, it's the same mirror but looks different. Like since Ruffalo is in the second one, but he's playing a different character, so maybe the mirror plays a different character. See, that would be good. So now I'm in. Okay.
Now Jamie's in. He's set now. So then she stabs Julio, like you said. She had it like planned to kill him. She stabs him. He knocks her down.
Whoa, okay. He doesn't knock her. Well, he throws her down and she passes out. Yeah. She literally she stabs him. He's bleeding. He just like kind of like wasn't even a hard push. Push her down. And she does that old like faint, like she just and she's like, and she's out, like she was out.
So then we get those flashbacks that we didn't know. Well, I guess are they flashbacks or are they flash forwards? Because that's what happens. That's a flash forward, I guess.
They had the guy breaking his neck. They had the crab, and
the scorpion. The scorpion. Snap, and then
I said
shooting someone.
Yep.
So it's a flash forward because he's still alive at this point. Well, we don't know what's happening.
Well, this is the point where the credits come in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so think about all we just talked about. All that was before the movie started.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you can understand my anger, thinking like, all right, because a lot of already's gone on. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm already like invested in this movie. The movie's got to be a third way over. No, the movie's just starting now. I was so angry.
Oh man. And then you know what we do? We do get, this is what's weird. So we do get, that is in the past, because this is where we got the little 2 months later after the credits.
Oh yeah, right.
So, but to me that doesn't make sense, because if we're looking in the past, Julio's alive when she stabs him, and then she has that flash forward of the rotisserie chickens and that whole scene that we get like 50 minutes in the movie, which obviously is his demise, spoiler alert. But yeah, I don't know.
So there was a double murder in that house, and 2 months later someone's moving in.
Well, Julio didn't die there.
No, you're right. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a single murder at the house, and 2 months later someone moving in.
For a rental. So somebody bought that house, or did Julio rent it? Julio seemed like he had a lot of cash. So he's hiding under floorboards, but not owning the house?
Yeah.
So he damaged the floorboards of a house he doesn't own?
Or maybe it's like not a safe house, but maybe like that's a house where he just goes there, has a little fun with his girlfriend, hides his things, because there's no furniture there. So maybe it's like not owned by anybody. Like, it's vacant.
Speaking of real estate agents, do you think the real estate agent's selling that house like, oh, it's 4-bedroom, an attic, large kitchen, and if you have some money you got to hide underneath that oval rug over there, you can hide money underneath.
Listen, that's a seller right there. It doesn't, it's some people like a big kitchen. Someone likes a nice family room. Others will like a floorboard that you can hide things in.
We're going to hide evidence that I don't want cops to find.
Well, you know what? What would you use a floorboard for besides hiding something illegal? Right? It's because in the movies, it's never anything good. Like it's guns, it's drugs, it's money. So like, it's not like you're hiding Christmas decorations. It's usually something that's going to lead to either death or an arrest.
Honey, I got to go can you upstairs? I got to go under the rug because I got you something special. Oh, you shouldn't have, honey. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The fact that he puts the money there in a house that she seems like she only is in the mirror room. She probably doesn't eat. I don't know.
Well, was there a kitchen there?
Well, there was a kitchen because Mark Ruffalo does
that's right.
Samurai Delicatessen later in the movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. All right. It was a very dark house, too.
They had no light. There was no bills. It was almost like it was like just like candles lit.
I'm telling you, it was the Munsters' house. The Munsters were probably the previous owners. They moved out, and that's it. It's been abandoned since.
So then we get Mark Ruffalo, and he's Joey, and he's getting yelled at by Anthony, Billy Drago. So they're unloading a moving truck. So they're moving into this house. Again, it's a rental. They move in. Elizabeth Baldwin, who Daniel Baldwin's now ex-wife. So the thing that's funny with her, so she's like his manager, and she has like an art gallery. Later in the movie, when she sees him painting, she is like, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Not at all. Art. But okay, so why is she even there? If she's his manager.
Well, they date. She's dating Anthony, and then when he goes in the house with one of the boxes, she's getting ready to, on an open moving truck on the road, trying to blow him.
Not only that, I wonder was this part of like the props, or was he really sweating? Because he had sweat stains all over that shirt from lifting all the stuff in there. So I wonder, like, if they just left it in the movie. Like, cause I can't imagine them having too much of a makeup department for this movie. So I wonder, like, if that was like real sweat, and they just like, hey, we gotta leave it in. He's moving, so
we got to use the same shirt. We're gonna throw it in a bag. And I don't know if we mentioned it before. So Joey is brothers with Anthony. Anthony is with Carolyn. Anthony goes into the house. Carolyn wants to have sex with Joey in this moving truck. Just to catch anyone up.
It looks like it wasn't the first time they were together.
That's what was weird. It seemed like it wasn't, but then later we find out how timid he is about it. And even when he calls her to be like, hey, he's going out of town, which she should know that already.
Yeah, but what gave it away, I think, was like she was coming on to him really strong. He was avoiding it at first, and then he's the one that reached over and kissed her.
Oh, I know.
So that to me was like, all right, they've been together, but he's got to be all smelly. He was all sweaty. Like, that's when she felt like, you know what? First of all, they didn't know how long the other guy was going to be in the house. Like, exactly. You're gonna risk it with like you said, with the door wide open. Like, the house is right there. I mean, like, yeah.
It'd be great if they added in a scene like the neighbor comes over, like, oh, we got new neighbors. Let's bring over a pie. But then he sets up his art. So he knew because he's been in that house before. He knew about the mirror room. So I think he thought that he could get like inspiration. So he set up his art studio in that. Oh no, it's so weird. In the one scene, he sets up his art stuff in the mirror room. I swear he brings it all in there, but then it's in his bedroom later.
Why is the mirror there?
That's the one thing.
Because that's the only thing.
Not even that there's mirror there. There's beds there. And it seems like they didn't bring those, did they?
Well, beds I can see, because sometimes they're hard to get, a mattress is hard to get out of that rooms or whatever, because I don't know.
No, I know.
I can see a mirror, but like the mirror, like, because literally there's nothing in this house. Unless they brought listen, it's very possible they brought the beds in there. We didn't see them unload the whole truck. So they could have brought the bed there, but that mirror is the same mirror that's been there. So like, everything's gone but the mirror. Like, why would he even and he's a dude. He's gonna need a mirror like that. I'm not, I don't think it's a sexist thing, but that's a female mirror. That's like, I don't think a guy would have a floor mirror like that.
What's a male mirror?
One that has testicles.
So I don't know if you noticed this. They only showed it in like one shot. But later when I'll just mention it now so I don't forget. So in Joey's room, they show like this floor camera shot and his bed is held up by cinder blocks.
Well, I can see that as a typical bachelor, just not like, but that's okay. I would say a guy mirror, and maybe I'm wrong, just usually one that's like, halfway up, like, because guys don't care what the bottom half looks like. It's always, as long as they can see their face, where women need to always look at their whole outfits and everything else. So I think that's a difference. I don't know. I mean, I don't think guys have floor mirrors. I don't know. Unless they do. Maybe. I don't know.
If you're a guy and you have a floor mirror at Sequels Only, let us know.
No, or can you tell us the difference between a female or male mirror?
Yeah, can you tell us the difference? No, but just the fact that maybe Ramon stayed in the cinder block room, but the fact that it was cinder blocks that were holding the bed up, I thought that was so funny.
That is, I didn't even notice that.
You're probably watching it like this.
Yeah. I did fast forward a few scenes.
Oh, I did. No, I did too.
All right.
Totally. So then we get, so how about when, oh my God. So when Joey gets into the basement and he steps on the rubberest, like the most rubber rat that I've ever seen before. It was so bad.
It was so bad. I mean, like, it's almost like they didn't try. They really didn't. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So then we get to like a new character getting introduced. From this, we cut to David Naughton, who's in a creeper van.
I was going to say peeping. He was such a peeper in this movie.
And it took us forever to find out what he was doing.
There's a few scenes in this movie that take a very long time. Like, there's a scene at the end that I couldn't believe how long that, like, this near the very end, how long they extend. You don't know.
I'm sure, because it seemed like a lot of them were. There was one with David Naughton talking to Billy Drago, and they were having a casual conversation. And I'm like, just get to the point. Why are we doing niceties?
This is not even talking. I know. We'll talk about it. But first of all, a lot of times those FBI vans that are doing like the peeping and listening, all that stuff, kind of like hidden. Like, they don't want anyone to. No, he's right across the street, blatantly showing that he's peeping on them the whole movie.
And is that like authorized what he's doing? Like when we find out later.
Well, there was
like,
a murder there, so I don't know. Are you allowed to, put wire traps or wiretaps, when there's been a crime before someone?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they would. First of all, I don't think they would sell a house when there's still a crime being solved.
Oh, that is true. They wouldn't rent it out and be like,
yeah,
some chick got murdered here, so there might be like detectives just watching. But
we're still on the case. But yeah, sure, move in.
But there's, you can hide something in the floorboards.
You can hide something in the floor, and we might just show up, walk in your house without asking at any time, which he does. And we're gonna wiretap your phones and your rooms, because it's still a case going on. But feel free to move in.
Yeah. So amazing. Oh my God. But yeah, he's just like peeping. He's a detective. And dude, and then the first time we find out like what is going on when it comes to Cassandra, like what her power, I guess, is, Anthony wakes up and she's like
arguing
alive.
But they're having an argument.
Well, I don't know if the first time. Oh, is she already pissed about Carolyn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So. I didn't know if it was. I think that's her. Because he sleeps with Carolyn, so I think that's the next time.
Are you sure? Because I have. Let me see. I have FBI peeping and then arguing with the ghost, and then there's a gun shooting. Right? Isn't there a gun shooting coming up that like is the most ridiculous gun? Because they go back.
Oh yeah, yes. No, okay. I think they do argue a little bit, not as much as later after he sleeps with Carolyn, but yeah, no, but she's because he's pissed off. Like, what's going on with you? Because she says, warm me like you used to.
So does he think she's really there at this point? Does he think she's a ghost? Does he think he's dreaming? Like what is going on at this point? And what's going on in his mind? Like they don't. Really
yeah, because he really doesn't talk about it because it's really we're just seeing his perspective. So it's not like he's talking to Joey and saying like, "Oh man, this whole thing's going on." So he doesn't really talk it out ever. There's one point when he says like, "What are you?" Like even like straight up says that. But other than that, for us as the audience watching, we don't know if he's like seeing just a figment of imagination because she didn't come out of the mirror. She just appeared near the door.
They're making it seem like that she's like he's dreaming every time. Yeah. Of like thinking it. That's what they're making it seem like. So at this point, you don't think she's real, and you think she's part of his hallucination in his mind.
And at this point, this is when they start having sex, and the mirror is watching. We get the POV of the mirror watching
a few times throughout the movie. So the mirror is definitely a peeper. Yeah,
the mirror is a peeper. And then Anthony wakes up and she's not there, but he has woken up to these. Dude, the weirdest part of the movie was the fact that we thought there were rats in the attic.
Wait, the weirdest part?
Well, I think there's a lot of weird parts.
Okay.
But no, the fact that we hear the rats and then the next time we heard the scratching, I guess they like his ear got more in tune to it. It was her making sounds.
But the rat thing went on for a long time.
Yes, it did.
I mean, like it was almost too long of what they were. I know.
Oh my God. And then we get, so Kobach, David Naughton, he shows up to chat with Joey. I don't know why. For some reason, I changed Joey's
and he literally just walks in. He literally just walks in.
Yeah.
He just walks in. Yeah. And they don't, you know what? They don't seem to question it either. They're like, oh, okay. And they start talking, like having a conversation. Like it does, like, it's a very weird scenario because they don't seem fazed.
No. And it seems like Joey, it almost reminds me that he's like, just like, I don't know. He's like very to himself. Like he has to depend on his brother. He seems like not like, I don't want to say slow, but there's something like off with him because he's really like open to, detective's going to come into this house that we just moved into. Like, what would we have to do with this detective? Like, what is he really here for? There's no reason.
Considering Joey's moving in with his brother and his brother's girlfriend, like, is she moving in too? Like, does she live here too? The art dealer?
I feel like she lives in a posh place in LA or something. That's where I think she should live. The way she dresses, I don't think she's living there.
Why people can't live in a house like that and dress nice?
No, you can't look at that. You have to be greasy. You have to have armpit stains. It comes with the territory. Or like how like it looks like Anthony doesn't eat. He looks so unhealthy and so skinny.
Okay. Everybody in the movie looks unhealthy.
Yeah,
like they really, I don't think there's one person. You know what? You know who looks the healthiest? The guy with Julio with the bandana.
Ramon?
He looks the healthiest.
Yeah. And then Joey, like right away, hey, what happened to your leg? And then we get the black and white flashback of which we got many times. And the line when he goes, hey, detective, taking any good bribes lately? And then he shoots him in the leg, which it makes no, even, you know what's funny? We knew we were getting a piece of a memory. And even throughout the movie, which a lot of movies do this, and it's obviously it works in other movies, but we get a little bit more, and then you get the full picture at the end. But this one, when we got the full picture, I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense. It seems like this guy's here for some reason. There has to be some crooked angle for Kobach. But the fact that his response is, perks of the job, kid. I'm like...
I did write down, and again, I'm trying to remember it, but I wrote down the longest death scene. Was that Julio's? Was there a long Julio death scene?
Well, no, this is what's confusing too. Is when does Julio really die? Because it seems like he does get shot by Kobach. It seems like
he does. No, he does.
But no, he gets killed in the rotisserie chicken stepping on scorpion thing by that girl. Like a random woman, the woman he's holding and says, "You're the only girl I ever loved this morning." She is somehow controlled by Cassandra to murder him.
Yeah, but
I don't understand.
But I think he does get shot also. Hey, listen, he got stabbed by.
Well, he definitely gets shot by Kobach, but it's like a weird.
Saying.
No, yeah.
So he got stabbed and shot, and he's still alive.
He's still alive, man. He's a cat. He is really a cat. But the like I mentioned before, the dialogue before Kobach, between Kobach and Anthony is so awkward. But the only thing I did love was the fact that he asked a question that I was like, you know what? It would be too on the nose to like almost make fun of the situation for it to happen. But he did. He said, well, why are you living here? I'm like, holy shit. Amazing. Because he says, of all places, why are you living here? And then his response was like, it was inspire me. Because he knew, because he watched the house, he knew that Anthony was like sleeping with Cassandra. So,
and I wouldn't be surprised if he had video cameras there.
Oh, he seems like he might. He seems like he might. So then we get like he's painting. We get like another sex scene. Yeah. And he's having and how about the fact that Joey comes in and interrupts his horny like painting moment?
There's just so many uncomfortable scenes in this movie that almost seem natural for all of them.
Yeah,
like it's just so bizarre. Like it's like is this a Skinemax movie? Like was this on?
Well, it's that whole genre of the B movie from that 90s, the B like erotic thriller, like the ones
that definitely doesn't seem like a B movie. This seems more like it would be way below B. This is not a B movie.
Yeah. So then Carolyn shows up, and right away, like while Anthony's upstairs, she's trying to bang Joey. Like
she doesn't waste time. She doesn't care.
And what does she do right after that? She's horny. She goes upstairs, sleeps with Anthony. Before she somehow thinks this would be like a way to get a significant other, somebody you're into, to have sex with you, she makes fun of his art. She goes, "What's this supposed to be?"
Well, she is an art professional.
How? How does she know what to choose? But then she does mention again, and she does kind of mention something that makes sense for us as the audience. She goes, "Oh, you're painting Cassandra?" Because I think she saw the photo there, and she goes, "What did she like cast a spell on you?" And I'm like, that's the only reason he could be here. Like, there's no really under his BS reasoning to be, "Oh, I'm here because it's like inspirational. It fits my painting style." It has to be like he's drawn to it, but it took him 2 months to move in.
I don't think he's drawn to it. Listen, it could be like I mean, if she was there with Julio, but also with Anthony, she probably had Anthony come over there all the time.
She did, yeah.
Right. So it's there. It's like, so I don't think he was drawn. I just feel like he misses her so much that he's like, this is where we would always be. So I need to be as close as I can to her. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with Cassandra.
Yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe.
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
Or unless maybe he had a relationship with the mirror.
Maybe he was with the mirror. Maybe he liked that mirror.
So maybe while Julio is with Cassandra, the Cassandra's with Anthony. Anthony's also with the mirror. And now we have an issue. So that's the whole thing. So the mirror's mad at Cassandra, keeping Cassandra there, so Cassandra can't leave. See, it all makes sense now.
Maybe growing up, his dad said, "Hey, long mirrors aren't for men," and he's like, "I always wanted a long mirror."
Okay. See, so I didn't make that up. Good.
Yeah, and he gets his chance to have a long mirror. So while they're sleeping together, so it's Carolyn and Anthony, and the mirror's watching again. And then, dude, the fact that Cassandra just appears in the room and Anthony's like zones out, and it's like a dream sort of sequence. And then the next thing we cut to is Carolyn basically like, it's over. Like, she's like, ugh.
Well, again, they don't really explain if Anthony's really seeing her or he just keeps because she seems to only come when he's laying on the bed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Isn't that how it always works? That's what she said.
I realized that after I said it. But okay.
No, I know what you know exactly what you're saying, but the fact that he is in this, so he must be attached to her. The fact that she must have some kind of spell that while he's like awake having sex with Carolyn, he imagines her there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think, listen, you know what? I mean, based on how the movie ends, maybe it really doesn't end that way, and that's still part of the dream. Because everything always happens when either right after he has sex or when he's laying down sleeping. That's when all these things seem to happen.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason. I mean, so
then we get again another flashback, and this is where we find out like what's going on. We get Kobach, he's in the van, and this is Julio crying, and he says, "I can't go back to jail. There's $400K in the house, and it's yours." So that's why Kobach's there.
I thought that Julio was just joking around, like playing like dead, like playing possum, so that Kobach would like turn around and then Julio would attack him. Like, I didn't think he was serious about crying, but he really was. He really was upset.
He was, yeah. Well, no, he does kind of fake it when we see the final flashback.
Yeah.
So then Cassandra's pissed off because, Carol, like Anthony, did he cheat on her? Are they dating? Can you date her?
They weren't really dating, right? So does that... Okay, so let me ask you this. Does that count as cheating if you have an affair with a ghost? Because a ghost really is not there. So does that, like, a ghost doesn't really exist, I guess? So does that count as cheating?
Honey, it's not real.
I'm just putting it out there. Anyone that knows ghosts.
So, like in Ghostbusters, when Dan Aykroyd gets a blowjob in a PG movie, like,
yes,
he's not. If he was married at the time, his wife can't be mad. I guarantee that was the topic of like Steve Wilkos or like Maury Povich. Like, my husband cheated on me, but it was a ghost. Does that count?
Wait, you don't think that was on Jerry Springer at some point? That is a complete Jerry Springer. Like, yeah. So, and then you have the ghost in the audience, like yelling.
The ghost gets up to the... Yeah, well, I'm sleeping with that ghost too. You son of a bitch. But you just can't make it. So this next scene, you really can't make it up. So Cassandra makes Anthony look in the mirror, which the mirror can so it turns into a TV somehow, and he could see what happened to Julio.
not a TV. It shows like the past. Like it's almost like a crystal ball.
Yeah, it's a crystal ball mirror. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's able to watch what happened because he says, "What happened to Julio?" This detective came by and he says that he's missing because I don't know if they ever knew Julio was really dead I have no idea.
Did they even know who Julio was?
I don't think. Well, like, what did he do? They didn't even mention anything. It's not like
Nothing.
Kobeck said he was into some serious shit or he was a gangbanger. We just know he had $400K and he threw a guy off a bridge and he shot another guy. Like, really, we know nothing
We don't
about.
know anything. I mean, I guess we assume he's a drug dealer just the way he looks. He has that look to him, And I'm sorry if I'm offending any drug dealers out there, but he did have that look.
If you have greasy hair, you're gonna get pulled over.
If you look like a caveman, then you're probably a drug dealer.
Yes. So then we get the whole scene that I mentioned the line already. You're the only woman I love this morning. And because this is like right after he was stabbed. He gets stabbed and then they show him get picked up Ramon and he has like that bandage on him. So he's going to party with these girls like right away. But even the whole scene when he pulls up in the Jeep and he throws a wad of money at these people, then goes down, busts like a quick like burnout, comes back to like party with it. The whole thing made zero sense.
It was no need for it. It's just so stupid. There was no need for it.
He steps on a scorpion. It explodes like it was a bomb.
So but why did they make it seem like that was such an important thing with all those flashbacks? Because they showed that scorpion so many times. Like it was something important. It was just a show part of Julio's last night. Yeah.
And the two rotisserie chickens in the fire. Yes, but the fact that she's kind of like narrating this, Cassandra, because she talks about like what she did. But the fact that Julio's girl that he was like sweet on. So did Cassandra like take over her body, pay her? Because the very end, like when these FBI type agents or a rival gang, I don't know who showed up to shoot all of them. It was Julio taking a bunch of them out, but the one that kills him is the girl that he was like hooking up with.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, Julio seems the type of guy that more than one person is going to want to kill him. So whether it was Cassandra, I don't think it had anything to do with Cassandra. I just think that he's such a scumbag that he had a long list of people that just wanted him dead.
Well, no, she said a line that made you think as the watcher that she had something to do with it. Like she said, this is what happened. Almost, she was trying to put fear into Anthony.
Well, maybe she hired that girl. Like
that's what I mean. So she must have did something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Cassandra today possessed. Like the dead Cassandra possessed to do. I just think I don't know.
Well, was she dead already? Did she die when she passed out when he hit her? Is that her death?
That what they don't show her again, right?
We don't. That's
what'd she die of?
Boredness, or maybe from like inhaling all the candle wax.
Eternal sleep. Well, you know what? It's mirror, mirror. There's a mirror in Snow White, so maybe she died like Snow White, like was basically dead in a coma, right? I don't know.
Is that what happens?
You don't know the story of Snow White?
Well, I just remember mirror, mirror on the wall.
She eats an apple, then falls asleep, and she
falls asleep, and then a guy kisses her. Yeah. Do you think her body's in the house somewhere?
And still sleeping. See, so that's why she's still alive. Like in some, like maybe that's like part of her, like trying to. Maybe that's why she's trying to always have sex with Anthony so she can wake up.
Maybe.
Listen, Mirror Mirror is a take on Snow White. I wonder if the first one has anything to do with just. Do you think there's any dwarves in the first movie?
Oh, I don't know. These movies sometimes can go that way, but I don't know. But then Carolyn, and then the whole time the mirror's bleeding. This whole time the mirror's bleeding. Watching this, it's almost like the mirror gets excited. Like, yeah, that was my work.
So, do you think that's what it is? That because the mirror is always peeping, that blood is like the way of showing the mirror being excited?
It's the way it talks. It's the way it shows emotion.
Because they really don't explain why the mirror is bleeding.
They could have gave us anything, a little like 1 minute thing of her talking about it, like nothing.
Yes, Cassandra's saying I'm somehow connected to this mirror, and like what I see, the mirror, or something like that. Nothing. So all we see is a mirror peeping and bleeding.
Then Cassandra puts it on the line. She goes, "If Carolyn comes back to this house, she's dead."
That's a threat.
That is a threat, especially that he knows after watching this video, like that this is possible. So then I had to, so this is where we get Joey walking around the house with a Walkman, and now he's making the most aggressive peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. And the fact that we get a POV of something watching him and nothing's there.
Nothing's there.
He drops the peanut butter. Nothing's there. They make
it look like it's something slowly walking towards him. It is very aggressive.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Not only aggressive, it is the sloppiest peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. Like, he doesn't even smear the jelly. Okay. Do you ever get like dance and like make sandwiches like that? Like, you see this a lot in movies.
So here's what I have to mention. I don't do that, and I guess people do it. But look at the sandwich right now. It's perfectly cut in half. He did like 3 takes of like hitting corners and missing it, sort of. And he just touched, was that a dead bird? And look what he does. Wash his hands.
Wait, not only that, he acts like that's normal. Like a bird just fell out of the closet, the cabinet. He picks it up. He's touching it. He puts it on a counter, goes back to his sandwich and walks away. Like, not like, first of all, not freaked out at all. Again, nope. If I see a dead bug, I'm like, I'm out of there. I'm washing my hands. I can't, he sees and that wasn't a small bird. That bird was huge. That was like the size of a turkey. I mean, that bird was huge. And he acted like that's something that usually happens. Every time I make a peanut butter and jelly, some kind of bird falls out of the cabinet. No big deal. I've seen it before. Like
that bird was so big that it took work and effort to put that into the cabinet, because he had to like turn it to get it out.
That was like the people behind the scenes, like shoving it in that cabinet and quickly shutting the door because the bird was so big. That's how it was, 100%.
So then we get Joey. He's tasked with like going to get all the rat traps. So he has all those. He wants to go into the attic to be able to. So this man, I thought like this is where I thought maybe they go in the attic and like something is there, but he couldn't get up there. It's like they couldn't go into an attic because they made it so he was able to put the traps in the attic, but we didn't see him in the attic.
And is that how you would put mouse traps up? Is basically just laying them out without seeing where you're putting them?
No,
not at all. And why couldn't he go up there?
They probably didn't have a location for an attic. It must have been that, honestly. Why wouldn't they do that? Why would they have him get this tiny ladder that he would have had to stand on the tippy top to get to the top?
Then what's the point of even having that? Because
they could have changed that. They could have said the rats were in the basement or something.
In the garage. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where we get Kovac. He's waiting outside and he's getting this is where we get the other flashback that is the third time. But this one is where we get him saying, hey, let's split the $400K. And then he takes Kopech's gun and then he shoots him in the leg. So that's where we get like that little added, like,
right.
Oh, Julio was fake crying. He took the gun, shot him. Again, if you told a guy that you have $400,000 in your house, you're going to shoot him in the leg. Julio threw a guy off a bridge.
And wouldn't, at the minute Julio told Kovac, why didn't Kovac just kill him right there? Because he knows the money's in the house. So what does he need Julio for? Exactly. Like it, and is Kovac really FBI?
I don't think so.
Like, I wonder, who he is, because like they really don't. He never shows a badge once.
No,
and he's constantly walking in the house. He's like, I wonder if he's just like a regular, maybe he's part of the drug dealing team or something, and he's just pretending to be FBI. Because why wouldn't he have just killed Julio right there, and then keep the $400,000?
Yeah, for himself, or
yeah.
No, why would he do it? But I did like Julio's line afterwards because he let him live. He goes, I feel like a freaking Boy Scout.
There is absolutely no script in this movie. I'm willing to bet. And if there is, I want to see the guy who wrote this movie and what else he's done. Because I could see this being like the only movie he's ever written.
Oh, dude, I really,
and I would love to see that. It just shows that student at NYU Film School. Because I mean,
and this is where Kopak again. He just walks into this house like he has like serious balls that he thinks that he could just like. He really just does whatever
he does what he wants, but they all act like he's kind of a friend because doesn't he help him with the mousetraps?
So, yeah,
sort of.
Sort of he does.
Or
yeah.
he's like, but he's just hanging out there while he's putting the mousetraps up there. Like again, they don't question. What are you doing in my kitchen? What are you doing in my house? Like they don't question it once. They don't ask him once.
So I have this guy's IMDb up, the writer.
Okay.
His name is Steve Timon. He did actually like a couple cool movies. He did Ring of Fire with hopefully future guest Don the Dragon Wilson. And then a couple other ones. He did Witchcraft 5.
He wrote Ring of Fire?
Yeah.
You know what? Wait, he wrote another sequel?
He wrote Witchcraft 5.
Okay. We need to get him on this podcast.
We gotta get him on.
Because I have way too many questions for this movie.
And he was actually an actor in one. Another sequel he did was called Deadlock, A Passion for Murders. I don't know if that is a sequel.
Okay. That just sounds like it would be very similar to this movie. I'd rather
It
watch
is.
Okay. So I'd rather watch Witchcraft 5. We got to work on getting this guy. We got to get him. Just for getting answers for this movie alone. Maybe
I'll let you do that interview so you can come up dressed in a suit.
Okay,
like
I'll tell you right now,
a lawyer.
I'm not doing my first interview for a guy that wrote this movie. That's
well, if you want to get him, I don't know. Maybe I'll cut this part out. No, so then we get Kopak again. And this is where like it's so weird. Like we know his angle now because he wants to get the money, but he goes, so one of Julio's gang members said Julio killed Cassandra. So I think already at this point, Anthony knows that Cassandra's dead, right? That he's seen her like in the house and he's sleeping with a ghost.
Well, if he doesn't, he hasn't questioned once. Why is she like creeping in the bedroom?
He only says it later in the movie. He says like what? I think the last time.
Well, he's questioning, like what are you kind of thing. But all this time though, he hasn't questioned why she's in the bedroom, why she's in the house. So like he's got to know she's dead. Because otherwise, what would she be doing in the bedroom? And like, why is he not asking her like, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here? No, that's so true. So then this is when he has his art show in San Diego when he doesn't know when he's going to be back. But he's like, hey, Joey, if you want the house for a little bit longer, if you want to have a girl here. And he goes, oh, Anthony, I'm giving up girls for a while. And then within seconds, he calls Carolyn and goes, hey, Carolyn, you want to mess around?
Well, no, him and Carolyn discussed it before
they
Anthony
did.
left.
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah.
Because they said Anthony's leaving, so they already knew. So he was already setting it up.
But then he was setting it up, but then he was a little nervous about it. And then the fact that he called right away and was like, you want to mess around?
Well, okay. And Ruffalo pulls a Van Damme.
What are you talking about? Seeing his butt?
And just rolling up the end of the underwear all the way to the top that Van Damme does in like 3 of his movies. He pulls a Van Damme. Like I almost feel like Van Damme took that from Ruffalo. Because and it's always tighty whities. It's always, but that was such a Van Damme move.
Yeah. So then what do? They meet at a bar. And how about the way they come back? Definitely fake drunk. Like, not saying you get drunk on set. They're stumbling around, falling into the door, bumping into stuff. And then this is when she asked Joey about Cassandra. Because she goes, why would Julio kill his wife? I don't know, because he's a psychotic drug dealer. So I guess that's the only time in the movie that we hear like he's a drug dealer.
It this was kind of uncomfortable to watch Ruffalo in this role, just because you know what he is today. He's such a big actor and such a and it comes across as a really nice guy, in his interviews. And to see this kind of movie from him and see this again, non-sexy sex scenes, it's just weird. It was very weird.
You got to start somewhere. And his line, I don't know if you caught it, because maybe they didn't want to get sued by a certain show that wasn't even on the air anymore. But he says, "Yeah, that's what they do on that show, Miami Heist."
No,
yeah.
I mean, just because he's a drug dealer doesn't mean that he's gonna go around killing everybody.
That's what they do on that show, Miami Heist.
You watch too many reruns.
That is funny.
So then we get them starting to hook up, and the mirror. Then we cut to the mirror in the other room, and it almost like, I guess it knows that Carolyn's back in the house. Like it knows.
Do you think the mirror moves from room to room?
I would love that. Honestly, I would have understood that more than anything. Carolyn, when she goes to the bathroom, if the mirror was in there, dude, I would have loved that. And maybe that would be even cooler. Did you imagine if this whole movie was the mirror killing people? I know it's not great, but the mirror, like, you look into the mirror and you see who your true self is or something, and then they die. I would be more on board with that.
So you're saying that, like someone goes in a shower, you see the mirror around the corner going like this?
Yeah.
And all you see is the top half of the mirror?
Yeah, Michael Myers peeping, mirror, the same dipping out of the shrubs. Jason Voorhees, yes, the mirror is just like the way you carry a heavy mirror, you don't pick it up, you just lift like one corner so it's like it's walking. That's what I would want.
I just love
it's like a fat guy
peeping around the corner. All you see is like the top part of the mirror going to the side.
And it can use the sun or light to reflect to get people to look the wrong way, and then it can run.
And then they would always question, how did the mirror get here? I don't know. Did you bring the mirror?
Yeah, I brought the mirror. Yeah, I carry this big mirror in my room. But here's there's so much to question in this movie. But this scene was so weird because when she goes to the bathroom, she's gone for seconds, right? And he's like, "Hey, Carolyn, are you okay?" I'm like, dude, she just got to the bathroom.
Literally, it was seconds. Yeah. It was. This whole scene was very bizarre.
It was because he couldn't hear her, she couldn't hear him, and he's still yelling. The door's locked, so you're thinking oh man, she's gonna die in the bathroom, she's dead. Nope. Bathroom door opens. She walks out. She goes to the door. And they can't hear each other, right? They can't hear each other. And then suddenly they can hear each other because he says a dumb line that I don't know why they had to do it to give it away. Cause they're saying push, pull. And then when Cassandra shows up she's standing there with her arms out randomly, but I don't know.
It made it look like she was in once she went in there, it was a different dimension or different, like a Freddy Krueger kind of where, and that's why they couldn't hear each other. So that was kind of cool, but then it ended up being nothing.
No, but then it got ruined because he goes, "Hey, Carolyn, who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "Wait, you can't hear her."
It was so stupid. They had something and it totally went. I think it's something coming up soon, but I thought there was a cameo by Psycho Gorman in this movie.
I never saw Psycho Gorman,
but you know what Psycho Gorman looks like.
I know what he does. I'm trying to think when.
Wasn't there a blue creature with the FBI agent, or there was some kind of creature?
Oh, where was that? Was that in a flashback or
no? The FBI sees him or something. I don't remember. Again, I just wrote a little note.
Oh, was that when he went into the basement? Was there something in the basement? Maybe.
It looked like Psycho Gorman.
Oh, that's funny.
There was something that he was fighting with or something. I don't remember.
No, I think it might have been in the basement. I think he was seeing stuff when he got down there. But how about the way Carolyn died? She's like, you, and she was backpedaling, but it looked like she was on roller skates.
Yeah.
Like when Cassandra Monique was pushing, it was like the camera was on a roller skate, and then the way she went over, dude, how funny was it? The way she was on the ground, it looked like they said, "Okay, lift your body up, okay, action," and then she fell and hit her head.
The rest of this movie is so cheesily done. Like from this point on, like this is where one of the bees. That shit goes all over the place. I mean, this is all, and it's just so cheesy. There's a scene here. I think it's with Anthony and Cassandra that it's so slow motion, so long of a scene that I forget what.
Well, pretty much the rest of the movie is that final scene because Anthony comes home to find Joey. Because Joey heard her hit the ground, he runs, and I love it, he's like, "Oh, it's not. Hey, Anthony, it's not what you think." Like he happens to come home right at that time, and again, when he comes home, it's light out. So they boned, they drank in the middle of the day, they slept with each other, and it was still daytime. Or is this like the next morning?
Or maybe he's just really quick.
Maybe it's really quick. He went to his art show in San Diego and wanted it to come back quick.
I like how he's saying, it's not what it looks like. Well, right now we're worried about a murder. Like, I mean, like she's like dead. So is he saying it's not what it looks like for murder purposes?
Yes. That's what I was thinking too.
Or is it because I wasn't hooking up with her kind of thing? Like, or was he just throwing them both together?
And it's like he knew because he even said like, "Yeah, well, it looks bad, Joey." And then I think he even says like, "You're banging my girl," and then he carries her out of there.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the mirror is bleeding. So when the mirror bleeds, it means the person's dead. There's no chance to survive, right?
Well, Cassandra's alive, or is she?
I don't think she's alive. I don't know. So then we get Kovac at this time because the door's left open. He walks in the house and he's looking for that $400K.
Wait, I think at this point Kovac has a key.
I would hope so.
I think he has a key at this point because he shows up and just walks every single time, anytime.
So when he goes into the basement, this is what we have. I think I know what you mean when Psycho Gorman. I think I know what you mean now. So when he's looking around in the basement and he goes into a room, okay, and he sees these. Oh, Cassandra already startles him, I think.
Yes,
and she's telling him about Julio, and I think he asked her about the money. She says there's no more money, I think. And then hold
on. And again, no one's questioning why they're talking to Cassandra throughout this whole movie. Now, one person questions. Okay.
Well, not the fact that he doesn't question. And then when she like kind of shows him this room that you think she's going to lock him in, there's skeletons.
Yeah.
There's dead bodies in this room. And still he doesn't turn around. He's a detective. Why would you turn? She never gun on him. Or
is he?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or is he? So that's why I think that he might not be a detective. He might, again, he might be just playing one to get to the money.
So one day he was at the bar. He overheard this guy has a lot of. He's like, I'm gonna play FBI agent
because they really don't. He doesn't arrest anybody. He never arrests Julio. He doesn't kill him. Like, it's very possible that he's just like, all right, he overheard the conversation. He knows he's got a lot of money. And now he's like, how am I going to get into that house anytime I want? Well, let me be a detective. I can walk in anytime I want.
Oh my God. And then he gets screwdrivered in the back. That's how he dies.
Yep.
So who are the other bodies? People that Julio killed?
No explanation.
Or maybe the real estate agent, maybe Cassandra was taking the calls and like set up everything.
Or just previous people that lived there that Cassandra, like Beetlejuice, they're not going to leave. I'm going to kill them.
I'm going to kill them. Or maybe those are the Munsters. Maybe they didn't want to sell. Julio wanted the place bad. He's like, 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
I did notice one of the dead bodies looked like it was about 7 feet tall.
So it's very possible. Played for the played for the LA Dodgers in the 50s. It's still one of the best ones if you go back and watch the Munsters. When he's on the Dodgers and they have all those legendary players.
I don't remember that one. Wait, he actually played Munster?
Yes, he tried out and he's cranking home runs. Yeah, it's insane.
That's awesome. Well, I think Rob Zombie's making an update on the Munsters.
Yeah, they already built the house.
Oh my goodness!
Like a few months ago, they built the house. I don't know.
Is it a horror?
I don't know. The people that are in it just are people that his wife is going to play. Yeah.
Okay.
They could have find so many people that could play.
Who's going to be Grandpa Munster? Because
it's that guy that. So if you remember The Fugitive, do you remember The Fugitive? Wall? He's one of the cops in The Fugitive, but I think the thing he's most famous for, not most famous. If you watched Home Alone on Movies That Made Us, he was the guy that when Daniel Stern held out for money, he was the guy that they booked actually before they were going to hire Larry Hankin. I forget the guy's name, but he's in a ton of stuff. Like he's a character.
I'll have to look
I'm
it
like,
up.
oh man, he's playing Grandpa.
You know what? I actually I went to David Letterman in when I was in college, and Grandpa Munster was one of the guests. He came out in full garb. And in real life, he was a dirty old man. Like he was like, like how Bob Saget, is so clean on the show. God rest his soul. He's so clean, but he's one of the most filthy comedians out there. He was. So Grandpa Munster comes across like, but he really was a dirty old man. And his character, like I think he just lived for that character because he came out in full garb.
No, it's great when you get a role like that. That's what you can be known for. And he like lived to it. I think I've only seen him normal in like Car 54. Where Are You? When they remade that movie, or they made the show into a movie. Yeah. That's like the only thing I remember him like not being Grandpa. So then we get Anthony. He comes back to the house. He's looking for Joey. He's nowhere to be found. This is where that long scene with Cassandra, because she goes, "Oh, Carolyn seems to have had a breakdown."
So stupid.
And to convince you, is that like Ghost 101? If you want to convince a person that's living that you're alive, have him grab your boob. She takes his hand, pulls her boob out, and puts it on. Like, what?
Works every time.
God, man. I wrote, wouldn't holding hands be sufficient? And then he wants her gone, and then they start kissing. He says to leave the house, and then they start making out. Why doesn't he just move? That's what makes no sense. To solve this issue, now if he left, so if they had a scene, again, this would have made the movie longer, but if the movie was better, and they had a scene of him leaving and going somewhere, and she was with him, then boom, that's fine. Like Insidious, like when they thought the house would haunt it, but the kid was really haunted, or the spirit was with him, then cool, that's fine. But he has a chance to leave. Why is he telling her to leave?
Well, maybe he put a down payment on the house and he can't leave at this point.
It's got to be like so cheap. He's a struggling artist. It's probably $100 a month, and he's like, "Oh, this is great."
She's freeloading at this point. She doesn't own the house,
dude. And then how about Joey? Is he comes into the house, and at this very same time, it's like a day after tomorrow in the house. There's like a snowstorm happening.
Yeah.
He's slow-mo going up the stairs. Meanwhile, at the same time, Cassandra, is it the same knife that she stabbed Julio with? Because she has a knife. She's trying to fight Anthony over the knife.
Well, she really doesn't leave the room, right? I mean, is that, you only see her in that room or in the basement? Right, those are the only two rooms you see her in?
Well, we see her at the window, and we see her at the window. That's about it.
So it's probably the same knife.
It's probably the same knife, yeah. But then we get so Anthony like knocks her on the ground. Then he grabs a chair. He starts whacking the mirror over and over again. And then Joey is trying to get he's trying to get into that room however he can, but he just can't seem to do it. And then this is the part then Anthony gets sucked into the mirror.
Okay, that's the part that took forever. It was a slow motion scene of him getting sucked into the mirror. Like the movie dragged as it is. You had to drag even more. Like they probably could have saved an extra between all the slow motions, long time getting to a certain point. Could have saved maybe another 10 minutes.
Yeah. And then he's in the mirror screaming. So Joey finally gets into the room, and can he hear him, or can he see him? I couldn't tell.
It sounded like he heard him. I thought it sounded like he heard him.
Oh, okay. Because he's looking into the mirror, so I'm like, can he barely see him? Because we could see him as the audience.
So is the mirror like that thing in Superman 2?
Oh yeah.
So can he go anywhere in there? Like, is it like a black hole, or is he just stuck in that mirror like Superman 2? Like they had nowhere to go.
Well, now I'm pissed that you told me in the next one, which I'm not going to watch, but in the next one, he has a different name, because that would make sense in the next movie. If he's operating the mirror, he's walking around, maybe his feet can come out like the Flintstones. He could pop his feet out and walk around as the mirror and stick his arms out or something. But no, the fact that he's stuck in the mirror screaming, Joey's like, Anthony, and then boom, right? He has to sit there and watch his brother get murdered. And then what makes no sense is, his brother gets murdered. He falls on the ground. Mark Ruffalo's dead. And then Cassandra starts like convulsing. She turns into sand.
See, now it would have been better if now, because that Anthony's in the mirror, she's alive. And every time she looks in a mirror, she sees Anthony.
See, yeah.
See, now we got a movie.
Or something. Yeah. The end of the movie should have been as a teaser for, like, it could have been no time. Somebody moving into the house and Anthony in the mirror or something.
So basically no one survives.
No one.
But that might have been like their idea. Like, listen, no one's going to watch this garbage, because if someone survives, that means we may have to make a sequel. They weren't planning on making a part 4. So let's kill all the characters and let's just kill this franchise.
I got to say, this movie had to be involved with money laundering or something. Somebody needed to clean money, because it's insane.
I think this movie was to get a high grade at NYU film school. It literally looks like just the acting, the way the video camera, like, again, follows her to the banister, and like it just the car chase in the beginning with the videos. It just looks like a student made film. Like it looks like a very low. I mean, it obviously was a very low budget film. That's why there's not that many actors in it. I wonder if they all put their own money into it, because
I don't know if they would have put their money in it, but they were all young. But I'm sure they must have or they shot it quick, because really
like
there's not that much.
This looks like a Blair Witch kind of movie. So you know.
Oh man, so that's Mirror 3 of the Voyeur. Jamie, you already said obviously you wouldn't watch it. Is there anything? Because I feel like a lot of the movies, there's nothing you could change.
No. Yeah, I could. Not the writer, the director, and the cameraman make sure they didn't make the movie. I would say, again, I'm still amazed that there's 4 of these movies. So I like, you got to assume the first one probably was really low budget, wasn't that good, so they wanted to improve on it. Part 2, okay, but we know how sequels sometimes work. But the fact they made this one, and again, maybe at this point, this could have been like the Superman 3, Quest for Fire, or whatever, Superman 4, knowing like, all right, we really jumped it. It's not a good movie. But they made another one after this. Like, this movie looks like it should have been like the end of the franchise. Like, all right, we destroyed it, like the franchise. The movie is horrible. Like, it's just really bad. We can't make another one. No, let's make another one. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand that. Like, I don't know how movies get made. I don't know how it got made.
Yeah, honestly. Like, and then the fact that the second one had Roddy McDowall in it, like,
yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I almost want to watch the trailer. I'll never watch these movies ever again. I really hope we don't get anyone for 4. But I'm just curious to see the trailer for 4 and 2. I'm actually gonna watch all the trailers just to see where it started from. Yeah.
That's 8 minutes, man. That's 8 minutes that you're giving up.
Well, I didn't say in one day. I'm just gonna say, it's just I gotta spread it out a little bit.
I'll piecemeal it, 30 seconds each day. But yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend watching it. The only thing for me, funny wise, was just how overacting Julio did, and he was Cheech Marin. And that line, again, I wouldn't tell somebody to watch this movie just for the line, but I'm really tempted to make a best of Julio and put it on our Twitter or on YouTube. Just his line when he says the You're the only woman I ever loved this morning.
You know what? Just watch the trailer and you'll have an idea what we went through.
Yeah.
Because the trailers are bad too. So, I mean, it gives you an idea.
All right. So that's it. And I think we're going to go on a good run. So if we're like, our beloved Knicks on a, losing streak, I think right now we're going to go on a winning streak. Really. I think for a while we got some goodies. One isn't a goodie, but it's definitely fun.
Oh.
But the next one and next sequel we're reviewing is sort of in honor of Mardi Gras coming up, Hangover 3. And we interviewed, my mother-in-law, Doug's mother-in-law in the movie, and Alan's mother, Linda, played by the amazing Sondra Currie. Sondra talked about how she broke into the industry and how she made it happen for herself. Then we talked about, what she called slice 'em dice 'em movies that she made in the 70s, like Policewoman, Jessi's Girls, Fugitive Lovers, and more. Plus, she guest starred on pretty much every show and had stories about all the people, like Three's Company, and just being there within like the 3 different years over the run. She was there on different guest starring roles, and just she loved John Ritter. She knew him really well. And she was fun to chat with. And what's wild is her sister is Runaways founder Cherie Currie.
That's awesome. That's
such a great chat. Sondra was awesome. And so don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.